Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm here to give you my predictions. My predictions for Noche UFC Fight Night, Lopez versus Silva. Do the clap in like every other MMA YouTuber. This card's fucking terrible. It's not terrible, but it has the chance to be one of the most uneventful, least relevant cards of the year. I'm just looking at some of these matchups, man. It's just like it's not great. But anyway, let's run through these predictions here, starting with Rodrigo Cezinando versus Daniil Donchenko. Obviously, this is the welterweight tough finale matchup here to determine the welterweight champ. I'm gonna pick Daniil Donchenko here. I'm gonna be honest. I think Cezino, watching his fights throughout the entire tough season, I thought he was pretty inaccurate in his striking, but it's still able to pull off some good wins with some good shots. And he is also someone that builds into his fights and, downloads a lot of data on their opponent as the fight progresses. But Daniil, he's just so strong and powerful, and he's really good close range that, like, his opponents really never even had a chance against him, honestly. So he hasn't even really had the proper testing against him. So maybe there's a weakness that Rodrigo could exploit here. Maybe his grappling is weak enough that Rodrigo could exploit it. But I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to pick Daniil Donchenko to win this fight here. Also, I love how I just zero reach, zero leg when the guy's been on the card, like in your UFC promotion for quite a few months here. That's cool. Good production from the UFC. Up next, Montserrat Rendon versus Alex Pereira. Guys, it's time to hop on the bandwagon. Alex Pereira's sister is fighting here, and I think she's going to take this win by... What was that? Oh, this isn't Alex Pereira's sister? Oh. Well, in that case, I'm going to have to go with Montserrat Rendon. Look, man, Alex Pereira looks cool. She has a good chin and what's it called? No, Pereira has a decent power in her punches, and she looked good in few of her fights. But she's only 19 years old, man. And Montserrat Rendon is someone that actually has experience in the UFC, fighting UFC level opponents. She has a good chin, she has some good cardio, and she's really good at applying pressure against them. So I feel as if that's going to come into advantage here. I think Alex Pereira still has a lot to learn when it comes to the UFC. So we will see how she's able to fight and perform against someone that's pretty experienced in Montserrat Rendon, who isn't like an amazing fighter in and of herself, but it's a good first step, and I think that's still someone that is like a UFC quality like competitor. So I'm gonna go with Montserrat Rendon in that one there. Next fight, flyweight bouts: Alessandro Costa versus Alden Correa. I'm gonna go with Alessandro Costa here. Listen, man, Again, this is another debuting guy, Alden Correa. I believe this is also a last-minute replacement. But, Alessandro Costa has already had some good experience in the flyweight division. He had a good fight with Steve Erceg. And then he fought that, what's that guy's name as I pull it up here? Who was it that he fought? It was, he lost to another really decent opponent, too, in flyweight. It was, what's his name? Amir Albazi, that's right. That's who it was. It was Amir Albazi. Which, those are two good opponents, man. Those are two guys that, are on the cusp of, like, that title picture. Steve Erceg less so, but was in that title picture, So, those are good opponents, and I think for him to go now fighting someone like Alden Correa, who hasn't really had that experience in the UFC, hasn't really put up that kind of performance before, I just think, Alessandro Costa is just too experienced, and he's too dangerous to really be worried about Alden Correa too much, and then he also has good kicks, which will keep him at bay. So I'm gonna pick Alessandro Costa to win this fight here. Up next, Zachary Reese versus Cedric Dumas. Dude, how the fuck does Cedric Dumas still have a job? How is this guy still employed by the UFC, man? Like, we all know what's going on with fucking Boonk Gang over here. The fact that he's he's out here getting. I won't say what he's been up to, but he's had some legal troubles, I guess I'll say. But he's back. He's flying down to Mexico. They've let him into the country, and he will be fighting Zachary Reese here, man. Now, this is an interesting bout because I think Cedric Dumas has better like losses and wins, but his performances in those fights just haven't looked that good, you know. Like, so he's fought in like Michelle Olejniczak, which isn't a bad loss. It's not a bad loss to lose to Michelle Olejniczak, but it's the fact that he looked so bad during that fight that has me kind of wondering where Cedric Dumas really like sits in the rankings here. But you know, on paper, Reese is the more polished. He can use the body kicks really well, and I think Dumas has a bit of a weaker chin, and his defense is really that clean. But I think I'm gonna do the polar opposite of what I should say, and I'm gonna go Cedric Dumas to win this fight, purely because of one thing, right? And this is a very dumb thing. You don't base a lot of predictions off. But there's one thing I've seen is that Zachary Reese has been finished. He was finished by Cody Brundage. Only 4 fighters in the UFC have ever been finished by Cody Brundage. 2 of them have been released. One of them is Tresean Gore, who is 2-4 in the UFC and will probably be gone soon. And the last one is Zachary Reese. Meanwhile, Cedric Dumas has also fought Cody Brundage and actually went to a unanimous decision win over him. So I think it's gonna come at the right time. Like it's gonna intersect properly where Reese will have a bit of a shoddy performance against Dumas, but Dumas is also now going to lock in and put in a good performance against Zachary Reese. So this is my underdog pick. This is my big, you know, like, bold statement pick that Dumas is actually going to be the one to come away with a win here. Moving on, Jesus Aguilar versus Luis Garule. I rate Luis Garule. He's good, you know, and losing to Ode Osborne in your debut fight is not a bad thing whatsoever. It's just that when you're fighting someone like Jesus Aguilar, who also has good losses, people like Tetsuro Tairo, and what was the other guy's name? It was Rafael Estevam, who's on an undefeated streak, you know. So I rate the resume a bit more of Jesus Aguilar. I think it's fucking crazy actually when you look at the odds that he's actually a 180 odds like underdog. I think that's fucking insane, dude. Because I think that Aguilar has the punching power, first of all, to actually get the job done against Luis Garule, either by finish or by like just applying the pressure to Garule and pushing him back. I think that is how he wins this fight. That's who I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna go with Jesus Aguilar to win this fight. Moving on, Tatiana Suarez, Amanda Lemos. That's crazy that this fight's happening on a prelim, by the way. On a fight night prelim. This woman literally just fought on pay-per-view for the strawweight championship. Now she's on a prelim fight fighting Lemos. Now Lemos here, she's had some good performances against grapplers. She's beaten Mackenzie Dern, who's gonna fight for a title soon. But she just has a style where if she gets taken down, she will try to wrestle like her own submission. She won't really shoot for too many takedowns herself. And I think that's going to work well against Tatiana Suarez here. I think Suarez also has a good chin, which I think is a problem for someone like Amanda Lemos if you're fighting someone who has a good chin. Suarez herself has fought well against Zhang Weili. She can apply the pressure and probably get the choke in if she's able to land the takedown. And Lemos will try to match the grappling while she's on the ground, which I think will be kind of a mistake from her, but also it's also something Tatiana Suarez will be able to capitalize on. So I'm going to have to lean Tatiana Suarez here. I think the grappling will still be on display here, that she'll still be good enough to fight. I don't think she's like one of these overrated, like fucking one-dimensional fighters. She looked good against Weili. I mean, Lemos also did look good, but I think Suarez will be able to pull off a win here pretty easily, I'd say. Maybe gets the finish, honestly. I think this could be a finish for Tatiana Suarez. Oh, man. Up next, Claudio Puelles, Joaquim Silva. You're making me fucking pick between these two guys. You're making me pick between shit and ass right here, dude. Like, Puelles. Okay, so Puelles is a good ground game, right? You know, he's on his Ryan Hole shit. You know, just fucking roly poly, yeah, just going for leg locks and shit like that. But you know, he has zero game on his feet, right? So he's not going anywhere highly. He's not reaching rank status, I don't think. And then Silva over here is a powerful striker, but I think he has a rather low fight IQ. When he's on the defense, he doesn't really do anything about it. Or when you're trying to grapple with him, I think he's just gonna be really vulnerable to a lot of those kind of positions. So for that reason, I'm gonna have to go with Claudio Puelles here. I know, like, dude, it's crazy to say I'm picking Claudio Puelles, man. Like that, it's just insane that I'm saying this out loud. But still, I'm gonna go with Claudio Puelles to win this fight. I think he'll be able to control the fight with his grapple game. He'll be putting the pressure on him, trying to get that leg lock in, or like he'll just get him with a takedown and just start spamming sub attempts on him. I don't think Joaquim Silva will have a really good answer for any of these, other than just trying to I don't know, just trying to get out of it. Really, I don't see him trying to grapple with it himself. So I'm gonna go with Claudio Puelles here to win this fight. What? Okay. What the fuck is this, dude? What is this? Jose Daniel Medina versus Dusko Todor. How do I even know how to say this name, bro? Todorovic. What the fuck is this, man? I don't even have notes on this barely. I'm just gonna go Dusko Todorovic because he's a bit more proven in the UFC. He's had a few fights, at least. Jose Medina is a good look, but he hasn't won any fight in his career in the UFC yet. He came off a loss on the Contender Series, and he's still getting a chance to fight here. Meanwhile, compared to Dusko Todorovic, at least he has a win. At least he has some wins. They may have happened years ago, right? But at least you can think back to a time when Dusko Todorovic, I can't even say it, Dusko, right? You can think back to a time when Dusko was he had some fights, he had looked good sometimes. His last win came in 2022, but still, right? I think someone like Jose Daniel Medina will not be able to put up that good of a much performance. As tough as he is, I just think Dusko has shown more in his UFC career than Jose Daniel Medina is. And for a guy that has not won a fight since 2022, I think that speaks to the state of this fight. And the fact that it's happening below matchups like Tatiana Suarez and Amanda Lemos is fucking crazy. I genuinely don't know what they're smoking over at the matchmaking spots. But damn, bro, I'm gonna go Dusko. Also, the fact that, bro, this guy's minus 325. I don't try to listen to the betting odds when trying to think of picks, but, holy shit, dude. How are you that big of an underdog against Dusko Todorovic, bro? Todorovic. I finally figured out how to say his fucking name. Todorovic. How are you that... How? I don't know how... If he wins this by some miracle, bro, I will be so surprised, bro. That'd be the most Dusko fucking thing you'd ever seen in your life, bro. Anyway, moving on. Main event in the prelims. Feature prelim bout. I can't believe this is actually on the prelim bout. This should be a main card fight. This really should be a main card fight, especially when we're going to talk about the next fight coming up here. But Alexander Hernandez versus Diego Ferreira. Finally, this Alexander Hernandez. He's making history for this channel, for the Rico Cooley Jr. channel, as the first guy that I've been able to follow up with since talking about him on the channel. And I said in my in the UFC 319 video that Hernandez is going to lose his next fight. No matter who it is, he's going to lose his next fight. Lo and behold, he gets matched up with fucking Carlos Diego Ferreira, dude. This absolute killer of a striker with a decent grappling game too. And you expect me to fucking pick Alexander Hernandez because what, he beat Chase Hooper? He was getting pieced up that entire fight until Hooper got caught. I'm picking Carlos Diego Ferreira here, man. Ferreira has great striking. Okay, here's how the fight's gonna go though, right? Hernandez has some good initial takedown defense, right? But I think he can be kind of grinded down as the fight goes on. And I think that's exactly what Ferreira's gonna start doing. He's gonna survive. He's gonna put pressure, right? He's gonna get pressured first, but then as the fight goes on, he'll be starting to land more good punches. He'll be starting to kind of shake him up a little bit. Hernandez will start the fight landing strikes and defending takedowns, but momentum will slowly start to move towards Ferreira. The fight will get dirtier. It'll be a bit more scrappier, and that will start to lean towards Diego's fighting style. So I'm gonna go with CDF on this fight, bro. I think it's crazy that he accepted a fight like this after his next fight. You'd want for Hernandez, right? I would have tried to find a layup or something, a fight that would just make me look good to continue this wave of momentum that I now have. Especially when we fighting in fucking Mexico, dude. But yeah, hey, props to Hernandez for taking this fight a month after fighting. Good for him. I'm happy for him. I just hope he doesn't get knocked out horribly. I'll say that. Good luck. Godspeed to you, Alexander Hernandez. Godspeed. Starting the main card. Santiago Luna versus Quang Lee. What the fuck do you want me to say about this fight? I have literally zero notes for this. I wrote down nothing. Santiago Luna making his debut. He's he's like 6-0, but he's lost. He beat a guy that was 4-6. Meanwhile, Quang Lee is 1-2. You know, losses to Chris Gutierrez aren't that bad, and he came off a pretty decent submission win. But why is this even on the main card? Why are there former title contenders above this fight? This is a contender series fight. This is a legit contender series fight. And I'm supposed to be fucking excited about this? I'm going Quang Lee, bro. Like Quang Lei. I'm picking him. I don't know who fucking Santiago Luna is. This guy's fought cans. I don't think he's ever fought a real fighter before. So I have to go Quang Lei. And if I'm wrong, okay, cool. I'll fuck with Santiago Luna, but like I'm not picking you, dog. You don't even have a picture. I'm not picking you. Fuck off. Next fight, Kelvin Gastelum versus Dustin Stoltzfus. Oh, man. Dude, if Kevin Gastelum loses this, we're going to start having some difficult conversations about Kelvin Gastelum now, bro. I'm not ready to have him, bro. This guy was like, when I started watching, this guy was like my guy. You know, like, I watched the first tough season I watched was him and Robert Whittaker. And I was like, I fuck with this guy, bro. This guy's really going to do well. And, you know, I hate to see him, like, not fall. He hasn't exactly fallen off yet. But if he loses to Dustin Stoltzfus, oof, we're gonna have to see, bro. Like, Dustin Stoltzfus is a guy, you know, like, he hasn't had really good wins, and he's like 3-6 in the UFC right now. He beat what's his name, Dwight Grant in his last ever fight in the UFC, which isn't really, you know, not a great look. And then he also beat what's the fucking guy's name, Punahele Soriano, and who, you know, who's also like completely irrelevant these days. But then he beat Marc-Andre Barriault in a fight he was supposed to lose in a really good outing. I remember, I was there in person. I was completely shocked by that. Ruined my parlay. Thank you, Dustin. But then also, he then went on to lose to Nursultan Ruzaboev, which is a good loss, actually. That guy's on a really good run right now, so I can't fully discredit him. So he has like some momentum, right? There's some momentum building towards him, which is why he has a fight against Kelvin Gastelum. But still, man, I think Kelvin, like, if he loses, he joins that elite list of, you know, retired fighter, super irrelevant, massive choker, and then, like, he's gonna become, like, the washed guy that he beats. Like, no, I can't see that happening, bro. I'm going Kelvin Gastelum to win this fight. I think Kelvin Gastelum will win just purely on the grit that he has and the good boxing that he has. Dustin Weevil will be really scared of his power. I think he's going to bite on the feints a lot, and I think Gastelum Weevil will get a better read on Dustin as the fight progresses. So I'm going to pick Kelvin Gastelum to win this fight. If he loses this, though, I will be extremely sad. And, yeah, we're going to have to talk, Kelvin, because not a good look, bro. Next fight. What the fuck? What the fuck is... What are we doing, man? What are we doing here? Listen, I ain't got no gripes with Rafa Garcia. I ain't got no gripes with him. Who the fuck has this guy beat? Literally. This guy just goes on runs, like, beating, like, shitty, lightweights. And then every time he has to face a good lightweight, like Drakkar Klose or Grant Dawson, he loses. And when he doesn't even have to do that, he's not even finishing these guys. He's getting decision wins. You have one finish in your career, and it's against Jesse Ronson, who never won a single fight in the UFC. That's my boy. But he's never won. He's never won a single fight. And then you go into decisions with Clay Guida in 2023, dog. Are we serious? And you think you're gonna fucking beat Jared Gordon, the guy that went life and death with Paddy Pimblett, and fucking beat Nasrat? Like, you think you have a chance? Fuck no, man. I'm going Jared Gordon all the way, bro. That's my guy. We fuck with Jared Gordon here on this channel, bro. I just can't see a world where Rafa Garcia gets the fucking win over him. I can't. I see that Gordon will just simply overpower him, and he's gonna land good shots, and he's gonna keep him back. That's all he's gonna do, bro. Because that's what he is. He's like a discount Grant Dawson, but I mean in the most searing way. And what are these odds? What are the odds here? Yeah, 245, buddy. You're cooked. Good night. Tuck him into bed, bro. Like you're losing. I'm sorry. You can have the reach advantage, 2-inch reach advantage. You can have, but he's taller. You know, like it's this isn't happening, bro. I don't even know why this is our feature fight of the night, bro. This is crazy. Speaking of crazy here, bro. Bald Rob Font versus David Martinez. Listen, I'll be honest. When I was initially doing my looks into like this fight, and I saw this was the co-main event, I was initially about to start a huge rant about how fucking wrong this is, and how this shouldn't be happening, and what an embarrassment to the sport it would be if Martinez won. But then I fucking finally remembered. Oh yeah, this is just a late replacement fight because Raul Rosas Jr. pulled out. So I'm a bit nicer towards David Martinez now. Obviously, he looked for a spot that he could really shine, try to prove himself as an elite bantamweight guy. And if he does win this fight, I'm ready to hop on the bandwagon immediately, right? I'm stanced up right now, bro. I'm in position. I'm in the position to start fucking like when you know how sprinters when they start a race. I'm in that position to just jump on this bandwagon as soon as this guy wins. But right now, today. I have to pick Rob Font, because I would look like a fucking dumbass if I didn't. You know, we've done this before with Rob Font. He has been a notorious momentum killer, hype train derailer for a lot of people. Adrian Yanez gives so many people PTSD. And you are now gonna try to step up against. You are gonna try to stop this guy. This is like the last guy, if I was trying to prove myself as bantamweight, that I would actually want to fight. Which means if he does win, again, congrats. You are part of an elite group, because this guy is a proper gatekeeper of the division. But I have to go Rob Font. I have to back up this guy up, bro. You know, Martinez, you faced nobody. You beat Simon Oliveira, who's 0-3 in the UFC. And now you're going against the number 7 ranked bantamweight in the division. Like, you're cooked, buddy. I think Font will go for takedowns. I think he'll do a lot of veteran shit, like, you know, clinch up, throw some good uppercuts in the clinch there, and then throw some good counter punches that Martinez is not going to be able to see coming. And I think even if Martinez lands a good shot, he's gonna get overexcited. He's gonna empty the tank, and then Font's gonna survive the exchange anyways, which will lead to Font being even better at everything I just listed there. So my money's on Rob Font to win. I think this might be a competitive fight, maybe. If we're lucky, it'll be competitive, but we'll see, man. Because David Martinez, I hope the best for you, brother. I really do. You know, this is a great spotlight. This is a great platform for you to shine on. But I don't see you winning this fight. Oh, main event time. I get sad because, like, I really want to fence sit this one. I really, really do. Like, this is a crazy matchup. I think, like, you know, it's just about, like, you know, these are two guys that, like, they don't have similar styles, but they have very similar success rates and being able to get wins the ways they do, right? So it becomes like a battle of, like, the ultimate clash of styles and what will win you more fights. The Lopez way or the Silva way, right? Oh, and I still struggle to pick. I struggle to pick who I think is going to win this fight. So I'll say what like things I've noticed, like, you know, watching Gene Silva for now, right? Silva doesn't like to take pressure. He doesn't like to push people forward. He likes to kind of lure them in. He likes to bring them back, right? So I think Lopez will capitalize that. Lopez will gladly follow him wherever he goes around the octagon. He's going to keep him at range, though, with the jab. And I think he's going to stuff a lot of takedowns that Silva throws. I think Lopez has the ability, the grappling ability, to be able to stuff a lot of the takedowns that Silva throws. And then if he does get taken down, he'll have the size advantage. I think probably the weight advantage. If you look at the size difference, he has a 5-inch leg advantage, like a 3-inch reach advantage, and a what is that? That's 4 inches of height advantage too. So I think that will play a large factor in this, especially when it comes to the control of the octagon. But my biggest worry, right, is just like the actual striking exchanges themselves and who is going to be better at that. Because I'll be honest, I think whoever lands more strikes flatly will win the fight. I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think, like, you know, whoever is able to land more strikes and look better on the feet will win the fight. That's all it's gonna come down to. There's nothing else. Um, I will say though, I will make this bold ass prediction right now. I can already see it in my fucking head, bro. Lopez fucking throws left jab into overhand right, wobbles Silva. He backs him up. Lopez goes in for the kill, and then Silva, you know, just trying to scare Lopez as much as he could, will throw like a flying knee, you know, just to try to keep him back, and just like still like show that he's still able to go and like still like he's not vulnerable, you know. So I think that's gonna happen, but I'm gonna have to say that I think I'm gonna have to go Gene Silva this fight. I'm gonna have to go Gene Silva. I think just the fact that Lopez is still such like he doesn't have blockhead mentality. He just doesn't have the head movement. He doesn't like to move his head a lot at all. Like he doesn't really move. He doesn't like, you know, his feet work isn't really that great. His footwork isn't really that great either. The fact that he like the way he positions himself, it's always just in front of the person. So I think Gene Silva is going to take advantage of that a lot. He's going to throw a lot of kicks. He's going to have to read Lopez pretty well, which I think is kind of an easy thing to do. He will land good shots and kicks. Lopez will have to block those if he wants to try to stay in this fight and then throw some good shots himself. I think the overhands will come in clutch a lot. But it's just, yeah, I think Silva will win via damage and landing more strikes. You know, I think he's very dangerous in the clinch. I think he's got... And the thing is, right, like, you know, everyone's like, oh, fighting nerds are gonna fucking, like, you know, this is fucked up. Like, they're on the downfall. This is the downfall of the fighting nerds, right? First of all, those guys competing doesn't mean anything about Gene Silva. Gene Silva is his own fucking guy, right? Second of all, Gene Silva is easily the most proven fighter out of all of the fighting nerds. Aside from maybe Borjalo, right? Gene Silva, like, the greatest argument for Gene Silva winning is the fight he had with Drew Dober. Because that was someone at lightweight he fought. He looked good. He was landing solid strikes. He cut him open so unbelievably badly, and he won the fight that way. And then also he had the Bryce Mitchell fight where he looked great in the grappling department. He was fucking out wrestling this dude crazy. He was putting in crazy guillotines. Bryce Mitchell had no answers for him on the ground. And that's an elite grappler in himself, right? Just look at what he did with fucking Said Nurmagomedov. So I just think... I can't just flatly outright be like, oh, you know, this is it for fighting nerds. Every fighting nerd's now gonna lose their next fight. Because I don't think that's gonna happen. Initially, I was really thinking Lopez, though. I really was thinking Lopez. I just think the size advantage is gonna play such a big part in it. And I think that control, it just depends if Gene Silva can actually lock in and land good strikes. That's why I think it matters so much the striking game. It's just who lands the better strikes. You know, it's not going to be about the takedowns. It's not going to be about the pressure. It's not going to be about the control. It's not going to be about the grappling. It's not going to be about fucking any of that. It's just going to be who lands the better strikes. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be Gene Silva landing some good kicks, maybe some good body shots, some good strikes to the head. And I think that's how he wins the fight. And it's going to be by decision. I think we're going to see a fight that's really similar to the Volkanovski fight. Lopez is going to have his moments, and he's going to have a lot of control. But I think Silva's just going to do more in exchanges. And he's going to have more good counter punches. He's going to do better in the clinch. He's just going to do more to piece up Lopez. So that's what I'm going with. I'm going with Gene Silva there on that. Let me know what you guys think of all of my opinions. Who you think is going to win any of these fights. Tell me how shitty of a card this is going to be. How wrong I am. Because you bet the house on it. And how I hope you die and all that good stuff. Be sure to leave a like. Subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of fucking combat sports this weekend. There's BKFC on Friday, which is when this video is probably going up. There's 2 boxing events that I'm so excited to watch for. I'm going to cover fully their full cards after they go down. I'm not going to give any predictions. Sorry, that's just way too much shit. Gotta do my research already on that shit. Maybe I'll put out like I'll give a TikTok. How about that? I'll put out a TikTok or a YouTube short on who I think's going to win the boxing cards and who's going to win on the BKFC card, you know. So that's all going to be covered in the channel. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you want to see those videos. But that's all. That's gonna do it for me, man. I ain't got nothing else to say. I hope this fight card goes well. Of course, I'm gonna cover this after too. I'm gonna give you my reactions to this as well. But yeah, man, that's all from me. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.